I don't talk to them.
Thank you for that comment there, folks. All right, Siri's microphone is now fully on.
I apologize profusely. I have been talking and welcoming everyone. So sorry. I'm just, I'm here now. Thank you, Louise, and whoever gave me the heads up. Welcome to OTF Connects, and thank you for giving of your time to join us tonight. I'm delighted at the number and variety of workshops that we are offering in this year's OTF Connects program. This is the first week, and we've had fabulous response from teachers attending, so it's a great beginning. It's my pleasure tonight to welcome Andrew Bieronski, who will be facilitating the webinar on Transform Your Lesson Planning with OTF Planboard. Before I turn it over to Andrew, I just want to give you a little bit of background on OTF Planboard. Last year, OTF partnered with Planboard in order to provide free access for all Ontario OTF members. In addition, teachers who register for an OTF Planboard account have access to a multitude of lesson plans created by our teachers through the OTF It's About Time project that ran from about 2008 to 2011. More of this will be talked about in the sessions. You're very fortunate tonight because in addition to Andrew facilitating the session, Louise is also going to be our guest facilitator here, and she's going to walk you through the OTF section of Planboard. So thank you for your patience, and Louise, I'll turn the mic over to you.
Hello again, everyone, and thank you for that. As I said previously, I am actually sitting right next to Siri, so I could hear her just fine. Didn't realize. Okay, so this is terrific, though. We are all set to go. And Senyo, you've seen that the link is there, and so you've got that set up. So you already, okay, so we're going to address what you've got there in the comments in a second. And Andrew's already replied, actually. And so sorry, Andrew, we've got your intro slide here as well. And this is going to be up again later, so you guys will get a chance to go and read that more fully. So OTF Planboard, as Siri said, is a partnership initiative between Ontario Teachers Federation and Planboard, and so it's a pretty fantastic tool. And Andrew's going to describe all the functions and the teacher uses of the tool. And I'm just going to give you a bit of an overview of Planboard from the OTF side of things. It is free. And it's got unlimited storage for you. You can create, edit, and share all within the app. There are plenty of plans that are in there, as well as anything that you upload in there, create in there, modify in there. You can also make available for sharing as well. All the lessons are really well, we've tried to make them as laid out and organized as efficiently as possible so that you can find things. All those lessons did come from various other projects that OTF had initiated, and so there's quite a variety of topics, grade levels. Some of them are units, so there's many sets of plans that connect to each other, and of course, you can attach all your curriculum expectations to them. Many of them that were identified have been attached, and lots of them have space for you to choose which expectations you'd like to connect to a particular lesson. Why use OTF Planboard? Well, Andrew's going to really present a very fantastic case as to why you'd like to give it a very, very good try in your classroom and in your planning. It's got a lot of stuff in there. There's, of course, when you have a large community of teachers all sharing and connecting with their lesson planning, then you're going to save a lot of time. It's all the curriculum expectations are in there for every single curriculum document that the Ontario Ministry of Education has produced, and so it's really quite simple to be able to track and follow which of your plans and which of your classes have touched on all the various areas of the curriculum. It's nice that you can look at the big picture as well as look at the day-to-day planning for all your classes. You can take a long-range view. There's just a lot of features that are in there, and it's a dynamic app, and so things are new and grow and change over time, and a lot of it's based on user feedback as well, and so I think you'll hear some more about that as well. And so we've already kind of touched on the fact you can access lots of plans, you can create your very own plans from scratch. You've got a lot of capabilities for embedding videos and images, attaching documents, and doing all those tracking features as well. This is a screenshot of what your OTF Planboard should look like. If when you log into your Planboard account, you don't see, well, actually, when you first log in, you're on your planner page, but you should see a symbol over on the left-hand corner at the top of your banner that is the OTF symbol that lets you know that you are in an OTF Planboard account. And you should be able to click on that OTF symbol, and that takes you to the kind of the repository of all the OTF plans. So at any time when you're in your planner or your calendar and you want to go back out and find those OTF plans, you just have to go to that main account and go click on the OTF symbol, and you will see this. And at the top of that that homepage, I guess you could call it, for OTF Planboard is all the tags. So all the lessons that we have in there have all been tagged with either a subject, a grade level, a particular focus of the lesson plan, and there are many, many tags in there. And when you click on those tags, you will get a search return of all the different plans that have that particular tag attached to them. So you can do a lot of exploring that way, and this is what the plans, scattering of them, looks like. So as we said, lots of subject areas, lots of levels, and but certainly lots of space for you to add your own and share and create as well. There is a code that is attached to all of the OTF lesson plans that lets us know what source project it came from. So most of them are from a project that was called It's About Time, and so you'll see an IAT and then a number code. And so any plans that are connected to that particular project will all have that code in that, and that is a code that you can use to search as well to find ones that are connected to each other. Okay, so I see that Andrew's fielding the questions in the chat there, and that's basically the summary of OTF Planboard, and Andrew's now going to talk to you about how to set it up, how to make it useful for you, and how to really get the most out of it. It's going to save you some time and really give you a lot of power in your planning. So over to you, Andrew, and I'll try and switch over to monitoring the chat.
Thanks, Lucas, for the introduction. Hi, everybody, and thanks for joining us tonight. I'm really excited to take you all through Planboard tonight. It's a tool I've been using for a few years now, and it's really changed the way I look at my lesson plan in my classroom. It's been a huge benefit to me, and I'm looking forward to taking you through that tonight. I'm pretty easygoing as a presenter goes, so we've got a smaller group, so please feel free to jump in with questions at any time. They showed you how you can kind of like raise a hand, get that little ding going, or you can just use the chat and we can talk about it there too. I've also built in a lot of times to kind of pause and reflect on what we've looked at and give a chance to ask you questions as we go through. So it might seem a little strange to start off with a screenshot here that says chalk.com when we're talking about Planboard, but it's kind of really important to highlight. Planboard started off as a single app, but they're working to build out now into chalk.com as a suite of apps that offers different tools for teachers. Planboard's definitely been the focus for that for the first few years. They just launched a beta program called Markboard, which is, as it sounds, like an online marking tool. So you can get like a gradebook online, a rubric builder. We won't be talking about that at all tonight, but I just wanted to make you aware of it because when you log into Planboard, you'll see a section where you can select their apps, and you'll see Markboard there. They'll have something called the 10 board and Campus, and they're building out this suite, and so you'll have access to those through your Planboard account. Once you've created a Planboard account, you have an account with Chalk and access to all those other apps as they build them out. But we're going to leave there and move on and focus on Planboard for tonight. So basically for the Planboard setup, almost everyone now has an account, I believe. I've been talking to a few people who it sounds like they have possibly a Planboard account and not an OTF Planboard account. Don't worry about that. We'll definitely take some names at the end of the session tonight and make sure that you get switched over to an OTF Planboard account, as there's some added benefits to that, which we'll be covering in this presentation. Nothing you need to stress about it now though, because the basic functionality for Planboard and OTF Planboard is the same. So everything we're going through will kind of make sense if you're working through with your regular account. All right, so I want to start off with a number of screenshots here just to give you an idea of how Planboard works, how it looks, and kind of go through the basics of setting up and using your account. So the screenshots will kind of be here for you as a resource to come back to and that you can look at later. I've also got a few demo videos built into this presentation, which will give you a chance to kind of watch and see all this live in action on your own time. So first off, when you log into Planboard, you're going to be asked to build out your semester or year in your classes. One of the really important things at the start, if you've used Planboard before, it's a completely new user interface this year for how you go about doing that. So if you jumped in, say, a year or two ago to Planboard, it's been largely updated this year if you haven't been back in the past couple of months. And it's a release they just launched probably back in August. So one of the first things when you're going to build out your semester here is you're asked a few things. One, to name your semester. If you're primary versus secondary, there's different ways to look at this. You might be semestered versus non-semestered. You might have one group of students you have throughout the day that you teach multiple subjects to, or you may be more at the secondary level, or if you're a rotation teacher, you're going to have many group of students you're seeing throughout the day. So that's what you can see here where I've highlighted. You can have either I teach one group of students or I teach more than one group of students. This is kind of a really nice way to separate, and it helps you a lot as you go through building out your lesson plans here for this. You also get to choose your start date and end date. If you're building it for semester, you put the end of first semester, and you can go back and build a second semester, which would start immediately afterwards. After you've put in your build a semester, you're going to be asked to create your classes or courses here. And so we're going to start off, if you look at towards the top right there, you'll see an arrow pointing to subjects and schedule. Right now we're in the subjects part, and we just left the schedule part there. So you see a little part where it says add subject or courses. If you just click that, this dialog box will pop up, and it gives you a few options here. The first thing is obviously enter your subject or course name. You can name it whatever you like. It's totally personalizable to you. And you get other color coding options. This is a really nice feature that Planboard added recently. When you go into your actual plan and you're looking at all of your courses, they are color coded very nicely. It makes it much more intuitive, much easier to follow, and it's just a really nice effect as you're looking at your lesson plan. So you get a lot of options there for how to choose colors for different subjects. The really nice thing here too, and we'll go into this more in detail later on in this presentation, is that one of the many features Planboard offers is it allows you the chance to tag your curriculum, so either standards or expectations, to your lessons as you go through. So right here you get a chance to set the default. So for example, if you're teaching in Ontario and you've got grade 2 math, if you search Ontario grade 2 math, you're going to see the official Planboard there of selection for the Ontario curriculum, and it's got all the expectations listed out in there for you that you can look back on and track as you go throughout the semester. It's a really nice feature. I know a lot of teachers kind of rave about it. I like it a lot myself because it allows you to kind of keep an eye on how you're doing with the curriculum throughout the semester. It's got tracking for you, which is very nice to see what you have and have not covered. So it's a really nice feature to have. It's not something you need to use, but it's there if you want it. Once you've added all your classes or courses here, and again I stopped at a few, you can add in, I'm not actually even sure if there's a default to how many you can add. I think you can keep going if you want. The next thing you want to do is it says in the top right there is now switch from subjects and go over and you click on schedule. So you actually get to build your daily schedule. So I'm just going to click over to the next slide now. And you can see what the setup for your schedule / rotation is going to be here. This has been a really big update for Planboard, and it gives you a lot of number of options. Louise has got a question here, so I'm going to pause for a second.
I just saw James's comment in the chat that it sounds as though the sound might be breaking up periodically. So James, I don't know if you're experiencing an internet lag, but just in case, Andrew, can you double check and make sure that your microphone piece is kind of stable and near your mouth? Thanks.
Absolutely. I can just be other people might check in just to see if it's coming through okay for other people, or is everyone having a problem hearing me? It's a little quiet. All right. All right, let's turn the volume up a little bit. How's that coming through now? Testing, testing. How are we sounding? All right, there we go. I'll try and keep it up around those levels there. My apologies and thanks, James, for checking in, Louise for stopping me. And James, if you missed anything before, the slides will be here for you, and you're going to come up to a demo video very soon where you can actually watch everything I just went through in live action too. All right, continuing on. So I'm looking at the setting your schedule and rotation here for your planning. So as you can see, the courses I just created are off to the left. And then I've got a planner across, and you can kind of see in the background there it says like day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5. One thing that's very interesting with going online and building out your planner is that every school, every region across Canada, across the world, has a very different way of doing things. And with the new updates to Planboard, they've given you a lot of options to personalize your schedule, which works best for you. So you can see from the drop-down box there, you can do a weekly rotation or 2 to 4 weeks, or you can do it be in a daily rotation, or anywhere from 2 to 12 days, I believe, is how you can set up your rotation and plan it out for your school. Okay, and it's a really simple drag and drop here. Once you've built your courses off to the left, you can just literally drag and drop them over in. So right now it's on a weekly rotation. You can see the 5 days there. And I can just take math and drag it over, drop it, and set the time that I want that period to run. Let's say if it's from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. on day 1, and it might be from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. on day 2. It's very simple. It's very drag and drop. And again, once we get to the video demo, you'll see exactly how this looks. And so I kind of mentioned here, it's really simple personalization. You drag and drop them in. You can see the color coding, which I find very intuitive and very nice to use. And in each little box, if you look at the sections, you'll see a little white bar at the bottom. That's to click and drag. So you can actually extend the period for longer or make it shorter, and it works in 5-minute increments. So it's really nice for the personalization standpoint. If you ever want to get rid of something, you just hover over and click the X to delete it out and move something else in. One pointer I want is people are going through, you can always come back and do this after the fact, but you want to think about your breaks, your lunch, and your prep period. By default, when you go into your lesson planner, once you've built this, there's not an editable slot for your lunch hour if you leave it blank. So if, for example, you want to leave yourself reminders for supervision possibly at lunch, or something you want to cover over recess, or things you want to do with people you want to meet up with over your prep period, I recommend you build a class that says prep or lunch or break or whatever it is you want, and that will leave you an editable space that you can create into. If you do not do that, you're not going to have that thing to type in there when we get to your planner. And if you haven't used it before, that will make more sense when we get there. All right, one thing I also want to highlight for you is once you're in this piece here in your schedule and building your schedule, there's a box in the top right that says options. If you click the drop down, you're going to get to see this screen here in the top half. One thing that's really nice for this as well is that first of all, if you click on add holidays, you can select your country. And so for all of us here, we're going to be in Canada. And if you select Canada, it will default in all of the major holidays for the school year in for you. And it'll make those off days. So the nice thing about that is when you're going to do your lesson planning, you can't add a lesson in for that day. Also, you can see the add button there, because again, the add holidays, for example, it'll have the Christmas break, it'll have New Year's Day, but it won't have the entire holiday break for you, the 2 weeks that most of us in Ontario get off. So if you click on add, you can also personalize in your own holidays. So here I recommend doing your PD days for your school year, which is again unique board by board. And also you can block off a set of times. So for example, March break, which is different by board, you can block off that week, or the winter holidays, you can block off the 2 weeks there. This is really nice. This is one of the features I love about Planboard, is that it's very simple to shift your lessons up or down depending on how your semester goes with 1 or 2 clicks. And when you move, say, lessons forward a day, it will skip over those holidays for you instead of moving them into them, which is a really, really nice feature. It's saved me a lot of time many times over. So that chance of options there. You also have the options to set your days. So if for some reason you didn't teach on Fridays, for example, you can have it set up as a 4-day rotation, just Monday through Thursday. Or if you want to leave the weekends in there, you can choose to have those days show up in your schedule as well. The default is Monday to Friday because that's where most of us will be. All right, so at this point we're getting to our first of 3 video demos. This is the longest of the bunch. It's about 7 or 8 minutes, and I just wanted to give you all a look at actually kind of watching how this goes through. Instead of doing as a live demo in this session, which can get a little laggy, I just put it into YouTube. So the link should be popping up for you here. For Louise, if you can post the link in for us.
Yep, I'm going to drop.
What I'd like you all.
I'm going to drop. Sorry, I started a lag issue for us. I'm just going to drop the link in the chat, and I'm also going to start the web tour, and the video is going to start right away, so I won't hit enter until you're ready, Andrew.
Okay, so a couple things. You see the link off to the right there. It may play for us here in the session, so if it's working for you and you want to watch the video in the session, you're welcome to. If not, if you click the link for YouTube off to the right there, you can leave and just go and watch that video on your own for the next, I think it's about 8 or 9 minutes, and it's going to just kind of show you a demo of all that. Once you come back in, I set it up just like a question period afterwards so people can watch, see how it's working. I'm also going to build some time for you guys to go and play and try this yourselves and come back and ask questions. So feel free to go and watch that video now. And after that, we'll come back and field some questions you have about setting up your accounts and creating your courses and sections. So I'll leave that to you now. And Louise, if you want to start in here, you can get going.
I'm thinking that we should maybe pop back to the whiteboard now so that those people who are having some freezing issues, we can make sure everything's all good. So Dawn, if you're still watching it within Blackboard, we're going to disconnect you, but you'll have the link to complete it later.
All right, welcome back everyone, for those of you who are back. What I'd like you to do right now, if you've got any questions, I'll be in here. We're going to go to questions in a little bit. But I think all of you have accounts now, and I'd love you to take some time to just go and try this yourself. It'll only take about 4 or 5 minutes to do this. If you leave your mics on, you'll be able to hear us and kind of follow along with any questions that are happening. But I just wanted to have some built-in time where you've heard me talk about it, you've watched it in action, and I'd like you to kind of go and play around with yourself, troubleshoot, and we're here to answer any questions you have as you're going through this. So take a few minutes, play around with it in your actual account, and keep your mics on, and please feel free to jump in with any questions you have right now. And again, because we have a smaller group here, if you do have questions, feel free to just grab the mic. If you click up on the talk button, if you have a microphone, and you can just jump on the mic and take some questions so people can listen along. If not, feel free to use the text chat off to the side. Absolutely, Jenny. So that's a great question. As long as you set up the Tuesday for Thanksgiving, or sorry, the Monday for Thanksgiving as a holiday, so it's an off day in your schedule, then your schedule is kind of continue. So for example, if on Friday you finished off on day 5 in your 5-day schedule, if you have Monday as a holiday for Thanksgiving, when you come back on Tuesday, it will reset as day 1. It won't be starting as day 2 for you. Yeah, absolutely. That's one of the features I really love about taking it digital. I don't know if for the rest of you how you've done this in the past, but if you're using a paper Planboard, a paper book to do your planning, or for me, for the few years before Planboard, I was using like Microsoft Word files. I was just creating a large table, putting my lessons in. If I forgot something like a holiday or PD and I planned out my semester, I would usually spend like half an hour going back and fixing everything. And right now with Planboard, it's a couple simple clicks and it's fixed for you, and everything adjusts as you go ahead. Sorry, I'm actually responding to questions in the text chat right now, so no one else is talking. I'm just responding by voice to the text questions.
I'm just going to jump in there for a second, Andrew. Matai, I just want to make sure you can see your whole chat. If your chat bar down at the bottom is very tiny, then you may want to stretch it out. Just hold your mouse down on the chat title bar at the top and drag it off to left or right, and then grab the edges and resize, and then it'll move along a little better for you. And Debbie, I see you've got a comment there too. We'll try and go a little slower.
All right, for those who are listening in, I'm just going to wait about another. Oh, yep, go ahead, please.
I was just going to say, James had a question up there about adding teachers to plan together. And I know you're probably going to talk about that as well, but maybe you can explain more.
Yeah, that's a great question, James. That's a feature I've been asking for myself. So there's a couple different ways of looking at Planboard. You can definitely build a lesson, share it, but like with any other teacher, we'll get to the sharing features later. But if you're looking for something like a Google Doc where you're collaborating on one lesson plan with multiple teachers, that's not a distinct feature they have right now. I mentioned Campus earlier on, and Campus is a feature, like a separate kind of hub that Planboard's playing with. Usually it's more of a purchase account for administrators within a school or for a department that kind of adds some features like that. So it's not going to be a focus for the presentation today, but that's definitely something that Planboard's been looking at as the collaboration side. So again, if you want to share a link or publish your stuff online or send your lessons off to another teacher, it's very simple to do. But if you're looking for a Google Doc, like one lesson plan, like with multiple accounts editing at the same time, that's not really a feature that's there right now. And James, did that answer your question sufficiently? Perfect. All right, unless there's any other questions, I'm going to kind of continue on with the rest of the presentation. So there was the last slide there, but it's going to go on, continue on here. Sonia, I'll answer really quickly here. Markboard, yes, they've been doing a lot of stuff to kind of make that available. Right now, like I said, it's in beta. It's very early. You can kind of see where it's going. I can tell you they've got some fantastic ideas for where it's going to be, but it's not quite there yet for where they want it to get to go. All right, so I'm going to slide on now to the basic functionality of actually using it. Hopefully you've had a chance to set up your schedule and your rotation, but I want to go about how you actually use it now once you've done that. So this is kind of one of the basic screens you're going to see for functionality standpoint. This is the week view, and you can kind of see kind of towards the middle right at the top where it says day, week, month, or class, and week is kind of highlighted in gray there. We're getting the week view here. And actually you can toggle through those. Off to the top right you'll see a share button, and I'll come back to that later. You get a few different options from the week view. You can either email your weekly plans out to somebody by sending an email in. You can turn into a PDF to download yourself, or you can actually embed your lesson plans or print them off. We'll get to more of that later. Also at the top where it says week of August 31st, 2014 here, you'll see a little calendar beside an arrow. If you click the arrow, that's to jump like a week ahead at a time since you're in the week view. Or if you click the little calendar, you can jump ahead to any week or date you want throughout the year. I'm sorry, Don, you're not hearing me. Just curious, are other people able to hear me right now? Okay, sorry about that, Don. Maybe playing with your speakers, or I'm not sure with your settings there. I'll leave that to Louise to kind of troubleshoot with you there. So I'm going to jump off to my next slide here. And so this is day view. So we're in week view 4. If I clicked on day view, this is the screen I'm going to see. You see it's still the very same functionality across the top, very similar look. It's just going to give me a kind of a closer look at what I'm doing that day. Because I've got a lesson plan built in here, I can only see my one section right now, but if I would scroll down on my screen, I would see all my lessons planned throughout that day. Off to the right, there is a little, it looks like a yellow sticky pad, and that's what it's actually meant to be. It's kind of like a little notepad for yourself. I'll use it sometimes I'll use it during a lesson. I like to come back to it after a lesson, leave myself some notes for later down the road for how things went or things I want to tweak, or if I didn't finish something, a reminder to come back to it. But that's really what it's for there. Next up, we're just going to come back to the week view here. I kind of went through this already. If I scroll down and see the rest of my lessons for this day, it's kind of a way to look at an overview. I usually, for first thing Monday morning or Sunday evening before I come to work, I have a quick snapshot of this and kind of see what I've got planned out for the week and what I want to be on top of. You also have the option for month view. And I've only planned out lessons for the first Tuesday of the school year in this screenshot, so you can see the 3 kind of color bands there. What it shows is probably your first line of text, which is usually your title for that lesson. So it's really nice for a snapshot to see all of your lessons throughout a month in a very simple look. If you click on any single lesson that you've planned, it will go to the view for that specific lesson. So a really nice feature. I spend a lot of time here in the month view as well, just kind of planning ahead as I plan out my units. And next up here we've got class view. Class view, just as it sounds, is a snapshot of that class. If I scroll down here, it will show me the next 5 lessons just for that class. To switch to different classes, if you look off to the right there, you can kind of see, I know it's small and some people are commenting on that. It says ENG 2DI01. If I click the drop down, I'll be able to see my other classes and jump through there. The first bar, if you see the little red dot over the 1, that's kind of highlighting how much of the semester we've moved through. It's nice from a tracking standpoint to kind of see, okay, I'm halfway through the term now, I'm a third of the way through the term or the semester or the year. It'll tell you how many lessons you've planned, and also where it says standards plan there, that'll be looking at your standards of expectations and how many you've covered from your curriculum as a percentage. So if there are 90 curriculum expectations for your course and you've been through 60, it will show that you're 67% done. Next up for basic functionality. So we just looked at like the kind of different views from a planning standpoint. You've also got a variety of options across the top right of your screen. I've kind of talked briefly about a few of them so far. So the first one looks like a calendar, and that's your planner. If you ever leave your calendar and want to come back to it, that's the button you want to click. The second one is for standards and expectations. This one's a really nice feature. We'll get back to this in more detail, but later I've got some screenshots and some videos to kind of go through this with you. But like I said, you can tag curriculum, and there's a whole bunch of different things you can do with that and kind of track through your lessons and see how you're going. That's kind of the hub for that there. Yes, James, just to answer your question, absolutely. So we'll get back to lesson planning here very shortly, and I'll show you how you can actually tag the curriculum you're covering, and it gives you tracking throughout the semester or through the year for you to see where you're at and what you've covered and what you haven't covered. The third setting there is settings and preferences. That's actually in our very first screenshots. Like once you've already gone through the basic setup of Planboard and created your classes and set up your semester, if you ever want to adjust that, if you click on settings, you can do that within there. So if you just did some basics today, you want to come back and adjust your schedule later, if you click on the settings tab, that's where you're going to go. The fourth button there is for the Chalk.coms app, and I mentioned Chalk.coms is sweet. So if you click on that while you're in Planboard, you'll see a little icon for Planboard, you're going to see one for Markboard, you're going to see one for Campus, and you'll see one for Attendboard. Reminder, Attendboards hasn't been built yet, but it's an attendance tracker as it sounds, like tracking attendance and leads for your class. That is coming down the road from Chalk. Planboard's pretty much finished. They got a few things coming out. Actually, I'll mention right now, I think I gave you permission to tell you guys this, they're actually working on a really robust unit planner right now. It's not launched yet, so you will not see it right now, but the unit planner is coming very soon, and they got some really cool ideas for working with your units and how you organize them. As I mentioned, Markboard is in beta. It's a marking and rubric builder way for tracking your students. It's really basic right now. You can see where it's going. My big feedback to them right now is that if there's no way to actually share, not a good way at least to share with students and parents, and if you're using rubrics, that's who really they're for. So they've got a lot of good updates coming down, but they've been focusing on the last pieces of Planboard here before they head to Markboard. The last thing I really want to mention with this screenshot is the help. And there's a little question mark at the top, and even more importantly, I would say at the bottom right, whenever you're in Planboard and you have to leave a message, it's a fantastic tool. Sometimes you might see their little logo, Mr. Chalk, pop up, and it's just kind of saying like, hey, we're live online. If you ever have a question as you're working on it, you can actually start a live chat with someone from Planboard, and they can answer your questions right there. Please feel free to use this. Their customer support has been fantastic. I've dealt with them a number of times. If no one's there live online at that moment, if you fire an email, in my experience, you usually hear back within a few hours. They're really great from a customer support standpoint, something they really pride themselves on. One of the other benefits to having your OTF Planboard account too is that you get priority support. So for example, if 20 people fire an email in and you're the 20th person, if the other 19 are on a regular Planboard account, with OTF you get priority support from Planboard ahead of those first 19 people. So it's a really nice feature to having OTF. All right, so I mentioned the standards expectations view. So at the top there, if I click on that little like a second icon on the top right, you're going to bring you to standards expectations here. And so I'm just going to try and keep an eye on questions here. And I saw James asking, will this work with Google Drive? James, I'm a huge Google Drive user. I love Google Drive. I can't say enough good things about it. Because this is all web-based, I'm usually kind of linking when I'm building my lesson plans here. I'm creating a lot of links to my stuff in Google Drive. So when I come into my planner, I'm clicking links and it's opening up my Google Drive files for me. So that's one thing I love about it. All my lesson plans and stuff are, like my handouts and things are built in Drive. By being in Planboard, I can link out very easily, and we'll talk about that soon, shortly too. Sorry, and I just plan it says standards at the top, it is curriculum expectations. So I actually try to highlight here the idea of standards / expectations, depending on what you're looking at. We definitely use expectations for Ontario. All right, so while you're in here and looking at this, you can see my section 1 for my grade 10 English class across the top there, the 2DI, and I've just kind of put a couple lessons here, and I tagged 6 different pieces of the curriculum expectations. So as I'm going about that, you can see it says 6 out of 85 there, and it's a nice little section I can come back to and track for my courses throughout the semester to see how I'm doing in covering down the expectations that I have from the Ministry of Education. It's a really nice feature. Sometimes I'm ahead, sometimes behind. I usually try to check this probably about like 5 or 6 times at least throughout the year, and just kind of see how I'm doing, what I've covered, what I haven't covered. Next up, we got the settings and preferences view. This is kind of where I started off at the very beginning with us, and it gives you a variety of options for how you manage things. So you get the create semesters up there. There's a section below beside create semester that's a migrate section. This is another really fantastic feature for Planboard. Once you've gone through all this once, if you have any courses you're teaching again, so for me, I'm a secondary teacher. And so if I reach my grade 10 this term, I've got another section of grade 10 established next semester, I can actually bring my lesson plan right over. Yes, please.
Your sound just totally broke up there, so I think we caught probably most of that, but I just thought maybe we should just take a pause for a second and see if that's going to sort itself out. That was an unusual sound, actually. I haven't heard that kind of breakup before. So, Okay.
How am I coming across now?
Okay, you sound like you're outside of a helicopter, an airplane, something like that. Maybe you should pop up into the audio setup just in case.
So just if you're better now.
No, that's worse.
That's worse. Okay. Interesting.
You may use in a windstorm, as James has described it. Yep, you sound like you're in a hurricane. But it wasn't sounding like that previously. Yeah, go ahead and try something different.
And can you hear me now? I sound like that commercial. Can you hear me now?
Yes, now it's terrific. Okay, thanks for working that out.
Sorry, a little simple of unplug and replug in the microphone.
Oh, good. That's good to know. All right, go ahead.
All right, am I okay on the slide slow, or should I be going back one?
What do you think, folks? I think that there was maybe 20 seconds or so that got really crunchy there, so maybe you could do a quick overview of that again.
Sure, I'm going to jump back one slide here then. And so looking at the standards expectations, again, this is going to be shown up in the demo video we got coming up in a little bit again, but from this view here, I can see the classes I'm teaching right now, and as I'm going through my lesson plans and taking curriculum expectations, and again, we'll get to that in a moment, anytime I come back to this screen, I get a look at what I've covered. You can see very kind of says small there, I realized, but for the section 1, it says 6 out of 85. So my first couple plans, I tag 6 expectations, and I can see that. And I've got this little green bar going across to kind of show that tracking to me throughout the semester. It's really nice to come back to and check in on. The third thing across the very top of the screen there is kind of your settings. This is where I started off with you. Any editing you need to do. So for example, if you want to create a new semester, that's options tree at the top there. If you want to delete a semester out, so for example, if you create something today and you're just playing around with it, but you don't actually want to use that, you can come back here and click the little X to the right and delete that out. A really nice feature, if you look in the top right beside the create semester box, there says migrate section. I love this feature, I can't say enough great things about it. Once you've built a course or a lesson plan, like a unit plan or whatever you're using for Planboard here, if you finish a course and you're coming back and teaching the same course again. So for example, for myself, I'm a secondary English teacher and I'm, say, teaching grade 10 academic English this semester. I'll be teaching again next semester. Once I finish my plans off for this semester, when I go and create my new semester, I get an option to migrate a section. I'll click the start date for the semester 2, I'll click the end date, I'll click import, and it's going to bring all my lessons from Sem 1 and import them to the new calendar for Sem 2. It's a really nice feature, it saves me a ton of time. I can obviously go in and do some tweaks there and kind of adjust how I want, but it saves me a great deal of time from having to build that over again into a planner. The other thing I'll come back to a bit later, but if you look to the far left there where it says semesters, underneath that is templates. You actually can create lesson plan templates here. For example, it might be having a basic title box at the top. You might follow that by the learning goal and success criteria underneath that. And if you have anything else you want to follow with, like say resources you need for that lesson plan, if you build a template, you can actually set it to a course. And then that every time you open up an editor for that course, that template is there for you. So it's like a default kind of save you from typing the same stuff over and over again if you have a template that you like to follow. You don't need to default a template to a specific course. You can just pull it up with any lesson editor too. So when you have a template you want to use, it's there for you. All right, I also mentioned the chalk.com app, so I won't go into any more detail on these, but this is the view up there. If you ever leave Planboard, this is how you get back to it. Just clicking those 3 little dots in the top right. Again, Markboard in beta right now. Campus is more a social platform for like school boards or districts or schools or departments who have purchased a kind of a separate account. It's more of a collaboration piece and a social piece for, say, example, departments to work together. And attend board has not been created yet, but it's something that Planboard and Chalk is working on for a way for teachers to track attendance and late and things like that. All right, I'm going to kind of take a break here. Everything I just went through here, I've got another video for you to watch. So Louise I'll kind of pass it over to you again. If you want to paste the link to it and then write, it will play here for those of you who can see it. And if not, if you just want to watch the link, you're good to go there and kind of see all this in action. All right, we've got most people back now, I think. So Louise, if we could leave the white screen here and head back to the presentation, I think we'll kind of continue on. So I definitely want to make sure we're all done by 9 o'clock and get everybody out here on a Thursday night. All right, next thing I want to cover down here is the lesson plan builder and editor. This is kind of where you spend most of your time, so there's a lot of great options for this, and I really love what Planboard's done with the things. So anytime you click into anywhere you've got a lesson plan set, whether we're in the week view, day view, month view, kind of click in and go to the editor, click on a class, and you let this editor pop up. And you get a lot of options. It looks in many ways like Microsoft Word or Google Docs, whatever you're used to from a text editor. So you got some of the basic settings like bold, italics, or underline. You can do bullets or numbered lists. Really nice, you can insert images right off your computer into your lesson plan. Or what's really cool for me in kind of working with class my stuff online is you can actually embed videos right into your lesson plan, so they play right from there. Me personally, I've shifted my practice to actually, I've got a data projector in my class and I'll plug my laptop in most days, and I actually have my lesson plan up there for my class to do at the start of class. So I'll have something to get started with the class, I'll have my learning goals and success criteria there, and I'll work through content and I'll share my stuff online. We'll get to sharing it a little bit later, but you can post them to a website or blog, you can share your links with your students, or you can just kind of make them live online for them to kind of follow along if you like. That's where I am with my practice. If you're, for you,